Hello and welcome everyone to a PCT Town Hall. Give yourselves a big round of applause for coming. And for those of you that are watching at home tonight, just to let you know, we're doing a series of town hall meetings where the idea is to really understand more about very important topics in our community. My name is Martin Anaya, and I'll be your host this evening. And I'm coming to this completely green. I don't have any background understanding or knowing these things, which I think might make me the perfect host because I'm going to ask the experts, and we're going to meet some of those experts in a minute. I was introduced through one of our board members, I believe, to this organization. They're called H.O.P.E, all right? And the idea is to bring hope to the folks here on the peninsula who might be dealing with substance abuse and particularly trying to prevent substance abuse overdoses, particularly with opioids, fentanyl. I'm sure everyone has heard about the epidemic that fentanyl has become in the United States of America. We're going to talk about that. And I want you to understand something. This touches almost every family in one way or another in the United States. I wish that weren't the case, but it touches everyone. So if you're watching right now, or maybe you're watching us live, or you're watching this at some point in the future, and you're thinking to yourself, you know what, this doesn't have anything to do with me. Why am I watching this? Understand that if it doesn't touch your family, consider yourself fortunate. But you might be out and about somewhere, and you might come into contact with somebody who's experiencing an overdose. It can happen very much by accident. And we're going to learn about these things, and we're going to learn about how you could potentially be a hero and really be the difference maker in somebody's life at the exact moment that they need you and really save a life, okay? So let's have that conversation. What I want to do right now is I want to introduce the president of H.O.P.E and her husband, Rondell Davis and Clarence. Would you guys come on out? And thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, gosh, I want to say, we were doing our PCT honors last year, and that's how we kind of came, when we first kind of started finding out about what you guys do. And then eventually I went and attended a couple of events. We've got a couple of videos here that'll demonstrate some of that. But if you don't mind telling me, Rondell and Clarence, how did this organization come to be, and why did it come to be that you wanted to spearhead this wonderful nonprofit healing, overdose prevention, and
education?
And education. Why?
We lost our son, Tyler, on May 18th of 2023 to fentanyl. And we don't want other families to go through what we go through.
Sure, of course. And we've got Tyler's picture up there. 30 years old? 30 years old when he passed. So I can imagine how gut-wrenching that has been for your family. Mm-hmm. And Clarence, I'm just proud of you guys for turning your pain into purpose and to really make something good for other people in the hopes that maybe some other family doesn't have to go through this. What has it been like for you guys to create a nonprofit from the ground up, born out of such a tragedy?
It's been pretty amazing. It's been...
By the way, if anybody's got any tissue, she might need it. So,
it's been rewarding, actually. We're already known in the community, and we started in March of last year, so we're almost 1 year.
Almost 1 year old, huh?
Almost 1 year old.
What's the birthday? Because we're as we're taping this, it's almost March.
March 6th.
Okay.
March what? 14th.
14th. There we go. Got it.
March 14th.
And Clarence, what's it been like for you? I'm sure that
it's been amazing. We've had a lot of support through the community and through family and friends, and we've raised a lot of money for our organization.
Tell me a little bit about what you do. And I apologize. Somebody's got to run and grab some tissue for you. Thank you for sharing.
I shouldn't come unprepared.
Well, you know what? I don't know when or how it gets easier. I've lost a brother, and I've certainly lost loved ones in my life, mm-hmm. but not at such a young age, and I can't imagine what that must be like. But I do applaud you guys. for turning, like I said, for turning your pain into purpose.
Thank you.
But in the startup and the run up to all this, what made you guys decide this is what we want to do? We're going to make this a mission.
Because I don't want other families to go through this.
And how did you get that ball rolling? What did you do and the two of you together?
Well, 7 years ago, my wife started the NARNON, which is for family and friends of addicts. And she brought, I mean, she didn't start the group, but it's been a group, but she put the first one here in Pacifica.
All right.
And it turned out really good. We had a lot of people go into that organization. So from there, after my son passed, we started this organization.
I know that fentanyl is a very dangerous and easy to come by drug, and that's definitely a buzzword. Even people that don't know anything about drugs have heard that word, fentanyl. What is it?
I think Suzanne was going to talk about that.
Was she going to
It's
talk
a
about it?
synthetic opioid.
But it's a man-made opioid, right? It's not.
Man-made.
It's made in a lab, right?
Yes.
Okay. And can you just tell me anything about the I guess the proliferation of fentanyl and how it's gotten out there and how many people are any idea about any of that information?
It's a lot of people. Suzanne has all of that.
Statistics.
But it's a lot.
Yeah.
a lot.
And it's a lot more than I think that we would know, huh?
Yeah, and you just get it on the street, and it's mixed in everything. So people will take one pill of Xanax, or just last week in Santa Rosa, 4 teenagers had cocaine laced with fentanyl.
And that's an important point, because a lot of times somebody has no clue
That's right.
that they're going to take something so powerful. Cocaine would not normally be laced with any kind of opioids, right?
No.
It's the coca.
No.
It's derived from the coca plant. It would not normally be laced with any opioids. But how often? I'm getting that this is quite common, that they'll put fentanyl or some sort of a opioid in order to enhance the performance, I suppose, of whatever drug that that the person thinks that they're ingesting.
Yes. And also to addict them to an opioid.
And often completely unbeknownst to that individual.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. So you've got these little things. They look like my little nasal inhaler when I'm nasally congested, which is every day. but that's called Narcan, right?
Yes. We're trying to get Narcan into the hands of everybody. And we hear, I don't party, I don't have that lifestyle, I don't know people. But you don't have to know people. If you go to the store, if you ride the bus, if you walk down the street, you could come across somebody who is overdosing.
That's right. And you could be a hero.
And you can save a life.
Save a life. I like that. We've got Holly Smalley from Lit on one of the videos going, hey, you can be a hero. And that just stuck in my head about the idea of, you might not know anybody, but if you've got the little Narcan dispenser on you, you can help save a life, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of video, I think we might have a little of that video. We're going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by Rihanna Karstead and Suzanne Hoff. And when we do come back, I'm hoping that we will have seen a little bit of this video that will give you a little bit more understanding about what we're talking about. We'll be right back. Stay right there.
Today's a rad day. Hope's at Lit, giving us Narcan dispensers so that our guests, our team, our visitors can take one home, keep it in their purse, their car, their backpack, save a life.
We are here because young people are dying from fentanyl. Narcan is not dangerous for anything. The only thing that Narcan will do is interrupt an opioid overdose. 2, 1. Okay, thank you everyone for coming. You can come here to Lit. You can come right in, open up the box, take 1, take 2 to give to a friend, and that's it. No questions asked.
So I would encourage everybody to take 1 box and make a commitment to teach 1 person what this does and how you can use it.
To have Pacifica be the city that's taking the lead on this is so important.
I mean, I just learned right before Christmas, my longtime hairdresser, who's in her 80s, grandson overdosed, and it's only because his friends had Narcan in the room where they were that they were able to save his life.
They're going to save other sons. They're going to save other brothers. And it feels good to be a part of that. You can be a hero. You can help save someone's life.
Why you always in the mood? I'm acting brand new. I ain't trying to tell you what to do, but try to play it cool. Baby, I ain't playing by your rules. Everything look better with a view. Why you always in the mood? I'm acting brand new. I ain't trying to tell you what to do, but try to play it cool. Baby, I ain't playing by your rules.
Welcome back, everybody. If you're just tuning in, you are watching a PCT Town Hall. The guests today are some wonderful people from an organization called H.O.P.E. And right now I am joined by Rihanna Karstead and Suzanne Hoff. And ladies, we were looking at some video there in the break. One of those was the little fundraiser party that you just had. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, Hearts for Hope, our Valentine's Day event?
Yes.
Sure, it was amazing. So on Valentine's Day, we had a party, a swanky party pretty much.
It was
so
nice.
We rented out a really lovely venue, Crystal Springs Golf Course. Hey guys, they were excellent for us. We had about 120 guests. We had the band Superbad play. We had a live auction, a photo booth. It was the jam. It was an excellent evening.
I got to tell you, I go way back with Superbad. This is like totally off script here, but I go way back with that band, and it was so good to see Hank again, the lead singer.
Hank's amazing.
Because Hank, I hope you're doing well, brother, because he had an open heart surgery, not even like about a year ago. So
Yeah,
to
thanks,
see him,
Hank.
Yeah, thank you, Hank, and thank you, Superbad, for being a hero for us. And then we saw another video there. Can you tell me what that other video was about?
Oh, we had our walk on the 31st. Would have been that's our first big event that we had, and that's something that we hope to have every year. Mm-hmm. So it's like a informational resource fair, basically. We had some presentations about Narcan and the opioid epidemic, and then the memorial walk, it was at the Moose Lodge. So it went from there over to Valleymar Memorial Gardens, if everyone's familiar with that. There's a lot of gardens there to unfortunate people who have lost their lives to overdose. So it was kind of a nice way to have everyone walk there holding the memorial signs. If you saw in the video, there was a lot of signs held as people were walking, and cars honked on the side of the road as they drove by. It was pretty powerful.
Yeah. And Suzanne, I guess that's going to be a recurring event. You're going to do that annually every year?
Yes, we actually are just started planning for August 30th of 2025. Mm-hmm. So we're looking forward to holding that event again, and having some more resources and speakers and getting the information out that people need to know.
Yeah, and obviously, aside from the fact that some of these are fundraisers and so forth, what is the information? What are you really trying to get out there? What's the awareness that you're trying to raise about this very important issue?
Well, I believe it's teaching people really what substance abuse is, what it looks like, where they can go to get help for their family or friends or whoever needs it.
Can you guys tell me, like, just for the uninitiated, one of the things that Mary said in the video that I thought was very important and I'd like to underscore is that if somebody is experiencing an opioid overdose and you give them Narcan, it's literally like a nasal inhaler, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
What if they're not experiencing an opioid? What if you misdiagnose that and you go, oh, I'm going to...
Nothing happens.
It's okay.
Say it again?
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
Nothing
It's
happens.
safe.
You hear that, folks?
I can dose
Nothing.
myself with Narcan right now in front of you and nothing would happen.
Right.
Its literal only purpose is to block the opioid receptors in your brain and reverse an overdose.
So you can't inadvertently give somebody another kind of an overdose by giving
No.
them Narcan. All you're going to do is potentially save a life or
Yep.
nothing happens.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's extremely
Yes.
important for people to understand because I didn't get that. And I was one of those ones that was like, well, what if somebody's just drunk? Maybe they're just passed out drunk and I don't know the difference.
Unfortunately, they're going to stay drunk. So you can't overdose.
It won't
on,
revive
you
a
can't,
drunk.
you can't overdose on Narcan. In general, there's not any allergic reactions. It doesn't have any extra chemicals that you'd have to worry about being allergic to. You can give it to anybody of any age. So an infant even, you can give it to your dog. So you could dose your dog if you needed to. And
If
save
he
them.
actually, and that could happen, right?
Yes.
Your dog could actually
Yes, so there
accidentally
are
ingest.
instances of people overdosing and ingesting fentanyl unintentionally from coming into contact with it.
Wow. And not just fentanyl, but any kind of opioids,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
And
There's
if-
pill forms. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if I can add also, there's the Good Samaritan law that keeps you from being
Prosecuted.
for being a help to another person.
So let me see if I can break this down.
Yeah.
So you're saying why would you be prosecuted? Not just because you try to give somebody Narcan, but if you were taking drugs with them.
Yes. Yeah. So if you were using drugs with somebody and they overdose, you would not get in trouble if you use Narcan and you call 911 to save them.
Correct.
They're not going to all of a sudden come and be like, you were doing drugs, well, you're arrested now. We got you.
Right.
So Good Samaritan laws protect you in those instances to help save lives.
I think that's very important to hear because I'm going to tell you a personal story now. I had a friend who was a brilliant designer of jewelry. And he had been telling me for some time that he had been clean and we could see that he was getting much healthier and he was just doing great. And for him, his drug use was tied into his social scene. And he was getting, starting to get to a point, this has been 2 years clean and sober, and he got back into that same social scene. It took one time, he used one time, and that was the time that killed him.
So unfortunately what happens is that someone can be an addict for a while and they can build up a tolerance to their drug of choice. And what happens is we'll see people will get clean and they will be sober for 2 months, 3 months,
And their tolerance goes way down.
and their tolerance it vanishes, it's gone. And then they relapse and they end up going back out and getting what they used to. They get their usual dose.
Their usual.
And unfortunately for their body, that's not usual anymore.
That's right.
And it then becomes a deadly dose.
Well, unfortunately, Rihanna, I found that out the hard way, and as did our entire social circle, and we lost a dear friend as a result of it. But had they had Narcan, and the people that he was with, he didn't know very well. They didn't discover him until 2 weeks later. I was telling him the whole time because I had an understanding of what was going on behind the scenes, but nobody wanted to believe it. But had those people that were with him had the Narcan, they could have administered life-saving measures, and they could have called 911
Yes.
Right? So can you and not been, and that's important, not been prosecuted for it. So I think that's what happens is people cut and run. Right?
Yeah, there's a stigma just in general around drug use. And so the first thought is, well, I'm gonna go to jail. And the first thought is not like, I need to save my friend or I need to save this person. The first thought is, I gotta get out of here because I need to save myself
save my own skin.
from getting into trouble.
Yeah.
And that's something that, as more people understand and know about Narcan and Good Samaritan laws, that's something that we can lessen.
Can you show us what Narcan looks like?
Yes.
All right, she's got
I got
a
my
little
handy
bag
toolkit
with,
here.
there you go, okay.
So I have here, this is a box. This is how they come. We put little cards on them usually. That's why it has a rubber band on it right now. I haven't opened one in my pocket though.
Okay.
So inside of here, you'll find 2 doses. So they give you 2 doses of Narcan. So this is that little spray Marty was talking about.
Yeah, there we go, got it.
There it is. It looks pretty. If you've ever heard of Flonase or ever used Flonase, it's similar in look. It's, clearly that sticks right up your nose. So what you'll do is, this is a nasal spray. You get your hand on it just like that, and you will put it right into the overdosee's nose, and you'll just go ahead and pump it. One long push. There's not multiple doses in here. You can't check it to see if it's full. You've just got to put it right into their nose.
So one nostril, one pump.
One nostril. You don't have to plug their other nostril or anything like that. You'll just stick it right in and pump. And they have 2 doses in a box because oftentimes the effects of the opioid can outlast the dose of Narcan. And so what you'd want to do is go ahead and administer that second dose and also call 911 immediately because they're definitely going to have more doses when emergency services arrive.
Yes, that's a key point is immediately call 911, give the dose, if needed, give a second dose, if needed, give a third dose.
Yeah.
And so on until the paramedics can get there to keep the opioids from drawing them into an overdose.
So the idea is give them a dose, call 911. And if you need to, give them another dose, right? Because it's not going to hurt them, right?
Correct.
Right.
And Suzanne, if you don't mind just telling us a little bit more about where people can find this wonderful stuff.
Well, you can find Narcan through H.O.P.E. We are a Narcan distributor.
Okay, and we're going to put that. We're going to put the phone numbers up, and I think we got some other stuff up there. But it's Hope for Change 650 at Gmail. That's the
Correct.
That's the email.
Yes.
Okay.
You can email us and ask for us for Narcan, and we will respond and get some to you, or you can come and get it from us. We also have our resource tables that we give out our Narcan as well.
At events.
At events that we hold or that other people hold, and we have a table there.
I know you can get some at Lit. You've got the
Yes,
Narcan
yes, you
dispenser
can.
at Lit.
There's a really excellent Narcan dispenser at Lit. Looks like a newspaper box, and it's in there 24/7. Well, when they're open, I guess I should say.
And by the way, for
business
Lit,
hours.
for those of you who might be looking somewhere else, is a marijuana dispensary here in Pacifica on Palmetto, and they've been kind enough to allow. And no questions asked, right? You just go in the box, you see Narcan, you pull it out,
Yeah,
right?
they have it there in the lobby, so you don't even have to worry about being 18 or was it 21 to go into a.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to worry about that. You can walk right into their lobby and grab it. You don't have to be ID'd.
Right.
It's there.
And you guys, by the way, were kind enough to give us some, so you can come down to PCT if you want to get a couple of doses of Narcan. We'll have that for you. And we got our phone number out there for you. It's 650-355-8000. We're typically in weekdays from 1 to 6. After 6, we're doing stuff like city council meetings and productions like this. Best time to see us is between 1 and 6, but give us a call, 650-355-8000. And you can also get a hold of me, Martin, at pacificcoast.tv. And we would love to be able to help you guys get this wonderful Narcan into the hands of
It is
folks.
also available over the counter, so you can purchase this in drugstores.
I just saw it at the Kaiser Pharmacy, day before yesterday, I think. So yes, you can purchase it at any drugstore, right?
Yeah, so if you're
But
not.
if you want to get a free
Yeah,
box
I was gonna say,
out.
if you want to get it for free, you come to us. I tell people you can stop me on the street. If you recognize me, I do presentations with Lovely Mary Beer in high schools, and I tell the kids, you come see me, come find me, and I'll get it to you. But like I said, if you cannot find a free source, it is available over the counter at drugstores.
And Suzanne, if you don't mind, just talk about, we generalized a little bit at the beginning about the pervasiveness of this problem. Do you mind giving me some stats on the what we're dealing with here? Because I don't think a lot of people, if you don't use drugs yourself and you're not kind of running in that circle, it might be something that you just have no clue.
So to give a few statistics about in California in particular, we have in California, drug overdose is the leading cause of death among 25 to 54-year-olds. That was in 2022, with the highest rates of overdose among those ages 30 to 39. Young people, even younger, sadly.
Those 4 high school students.
The high
that
school
Rondell
students,
was talking
yes.
about in Santa Rosa just the other day.
Yes, I've seen as young as 14 people losing their young children.
So as I said at the top, this is a problem that touches many lives. Folks at home, I'm going to ask for your indulgence for just a moment. I don't know if we've sparked any questions from the audience. Do you have one? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to bring a mic over to you, and we're going to have a question. This is
Actually,
you have 2 questions. I love it. This is one of our board members here, Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. Yeah, go ahead. Right in front. You're fine.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you so much for this life-saving information. My first question is about the Good Samaritan laws. Are those in every state, or is it only in California? Because PCT will eventually post this on the web, and people from other states may see it. Is that generally true?
That's an excellent question, and my guess is that it is not all states. It's probably going to vary by state. Yeah. California definitely, because we're awesome, so we already have that in place.
So I guess if somebody sees it from another state, they should investigate that.
They should check their local laws for sure.
Yes. And then the second question, let's say you've got your Narcan, you give the first dose, you call 911. What is a sign that you need to give another dose? What does it look like?
So if they have essentially not responded, if they don't come out of it, because what will happen is when someone is given Narcan, if you've gotten it, they'll pop out of.
And you mean pop out of it?
I
so
do mean pop.
Like,
I
come
do
back
mean
to
pop.
consciousness.
Yeah, they're gonna pop out of the
so then if they
overdose
start
state
getting
into consciousness, and not only that, but they're gonna pop out in withdrawal. So they're gonna be coming awake immediately, suffering from withdrawal.
And that means they're going to be pretty agitated.
Yes, it does, potentially.
So you'll know if it's working. In other words.
Right.
Yeah, you
so
sure will.
If they're agitated, but then all of a sudden they start to kind of drift away, that's when you would give the second dose.
Yes, or if they have not regained consciousness,
okay, that's
and you have
excellent.
tried CPR and they're still not responding, that's then when you would want to go ahead and give at least a second dose.
Okay. I do have one other question.
Yep.
If you have to purchase it over the counter, what is the price generally at like Kaiser or somewhere?
You know, that's a real. I should have checked the other day. I just saw it.
I'm just
there.
full
I
of
should have checked.
questions.
I want to say I've seen it at Target for like maybe 40. Rondell knows. 45 at Target.
45.
And
So
that's 2 in a box. Is that correct?
Yes, it
Rondell?
is.
Okay.
It is 2
so
in a
it's
box.
very worthwhile to come to PCT and get it, or to chase you down the street and get one.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
We
I
hope
think
to make it free, more widely available. That's our goal.
And by the way, that brings up another thing. By the way, did we answer both of your questions?
3 of them.
3 of them?
Yes.
Does anybody else have any other
need the
questions?
microphone?
Okay, we have wonderful Mary Beer here from the City Council. Hi, Mary.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here with you all. You know how much I respect your work. Can you talk a little bit about how fast the damage can happen so people don't wait to react?
Yes. So when somebody is overdosing on opioids, it literally takes between 4 and 8 minutes for their body to begin suffering. It's going to be a lot of brain damage from the lack of oxygen going to their brain. So you see
Because what's happening?
So what's happening is the opioids have caused their heart rate to slow down. It has caused your brain functions to slow down. And your respiratory system all to completely slow down. And at a certain point, eventually, they will stop. And so what ends
Stop
up
breathing and or heart stops
So you
beating.
then are suffering from a lack of oxygen to your brain, and that's like so roughly between 4 and 8 minutes is when you are going to start suffering irreversible and irreparable damage.
Right. So time is of the essence.
And not only that, but the amount of time that it takes emergency services to reach you is average is about 7 minutes. So you've already gotten very, very close to the point where it would be too late for them to be able to save somebody. So being able to be there in the moment and give Narcan before emergency services arrive is incredibly important. Because that 7 minutes is only an average, it's not a rule. So they could arrive in much longer minutes than that, depending on what's going on with emergency services at that time.
Yeah, guys. I mean, and I can't underscore it enough. I loved when Mary on the video indicated that you can't hurt somebody, because I think that you've heard of that old saying, the paralysis of analysis, and a lot of times we don't want to do any harm, and we might not realize what it is. Can you talk to me about the signs of how do you know somebody's experiencing an overdose?
So there's different signs, and I'm gonna just look at my little notes here because
look
I
at
don't
the
want to
cheat
miss
sheet.
anything.
And while she's looking that up, again, I just got to say it again. You can't hurt anybody. So if you got it wrong, great. You didn't need to give them the Narcan. It's not going to hurt them.
Right.
Get it wrong. Better to get it wrong that way than to get it wrong by not delivering a dose that.
Yes.
When you've got, what did you say,
100%.
4 to 8 minutes maybe
Yes.
before there's brain damage sets in?
So some of the signs are, you'll see that their pupils are pinpoint, they're constricted, small, falling asleep or losing consciousness, like Rihanna mentioned, slow, weak, or no breathing, choking or gurgling sounds is one of the signs, limp body, and cold, clammy, and discolored skin.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the signs that you look for, and that's when you want to start calling the 911 and giving the Narcan, trying to stimulate them, giving them the sternum rub, shaking them. If you know their name, start calling their name.
And if you see that they're just non-responsive or they just won't come out of it,
The sternal rub is the big one, because generally even an unconscious person, the pain that it causes when you give a sternal rub should bring them out of
you're taking your knuckles and rubbing it.
So if you never, you'll take your knuckles and you'll give them a sternal rub.
My big brother used to do that to me. That is
and
painful.
you can even give yourself a pretty big amount of pain just by doing that like that. And if somebody literally does not respond to that they're completely unconscious still, that's a big indicator that they're probably overdosing.
Yeah.
Got it.
And something fun. So we actually do these really fun kits. I'm gonna pimp this out a little bit here. We have these really fun kits that we give out when we give out our Narcan. So we put them on these keychains.
Oh,
we
wow.
put this
Let me
little
see.
handy dandy card on there.
Yeah, that is cute.
And on that card, we'll actually explain to you the signs of an overdose.
Okay.
And we have our card. There's an
I'll hold it up
information
for you.
about a Good Samaritan laws on there, and just multiple times it tells you call 911. And there's a little instructions there on the card as well. So even if you're unsure, we try to do our best to walk you through it with our little Narcan kit.
Oh, that is cute.
And you'll see that little bag there, that would be a CPR mask. And so that is something that if you're worried about getting contaminated yourself by fentanyl, you would want to go ahead and put that onto their face before you give them
Good
CPR.
point. Wow. And then again, the instructions that she's talking about. Wow. That is a very nice little kit you got going on there. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we find that the keychain's quite convenient. We think people are more likely to go ahead and carry that around than the boxes,
Put it in their
perchance.
purse.
Yeah,
Sure.
so you could hook that right onto your keys. A lot of us love to have a big old keychain on a lanyard with our little Hello Kitties. So it just kind of fits in better, and we hope that kind of promotes people to be more likely to want to carry it around.
Ladies, we're going to get ready to run out to another break here, but is there anything else that you would want us to know either about prevention or just anything related to what folks at home might need to know in order to help us save lives?
Oh, to help us save lives.
Well,
I was just
you
going,
tell me what you think we should
Well, I was just going to say very quickly, I hope, what addiction is, and which is also known as substance use disorder. So I think like addiction is like an older term, and substance use disorder is a more accurate term now. But it's important to know that addiction, substance use disorder, does not occur because of any type of moral weakness or a lack of willpower or unwilling to stop. Research has identified that several areas in the brain key to the development and persistence of addiction. In particular, pathways containing dopamine are where many drugs exert their effects. So I think the stigma follows people with addiction. We can talk about that after the break if you'd like.
Well, I'll tell you, if you could just give us a little bit on that right now. As after the break, we're going to bring Rondell and Clarence back, but I would love to hear what you have to say on that.
So, although substance use disorders are chronic and treatable medical conditions, studies show people with these disorders still face discrimination and stigma that can impact their health and well-being in numerous ways. The stigma also affects people who use drugs who do not have a substance use disorder. There are safe, effective, and life-saving tools available to help people struggling with substance use. However, stigma often factors into the reasons why people who need to seek help don't, because of the stigma that follows them, which is unfortunate. So
well,
we have
that is
to,
unfortunate, but you know what? We're trying to clear some of that up today, and I think
Yes.
that knowledge is power, folks. So if you're watching at home, we're going to replay this again and again. If you need to get a copy of this video, maybe you want to present it to your work or to a school group or something like that. We'd be more than happy to provide that for you, and you can do that by giving us a call here at PCT, 650-355-8000, or like I said, go to our website, pacificcoast.tv. You can email me, I'm Martin at pacificcoast.tv. So ladies, thank you so much. We're gonna run out to that break I was mentioning, and when we come back, we're gonna wrap it up with Clarence and Rondell. Stay right there, we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Farrah Walton. My very first internship was with Pacific Coast TV. They taught me so many valuable skills and lessons that I have now taken with me to Abilene, where I am the new weekend anchor and reporter. So thank you, PCT, for teaching me lots of valuable skills.
Hello, I'm Anita Reese with the Pacifica Resource Center, and I am so grateful for the Pacific Coast TV. They are a wonderful resource for the community and are always highlighting the most important things in our community, whether it's in Pacifica or through Half Moon Bay.
Hi, I'm Bob West. Now, you may not know my face, but you may be familiar with this big guy. Hi there! It's me, Barney the Dinosaur! I have been all over the world helping friends young and old learn many wonderful things and having fun doing it. That's why I'm here at Pacific Coast Television, because they help people too. PCT has been teaching and entertaining and sharing local meetings and events with their friends in Pacifica and on the coast side since 1977, and that's a long time.
PCT is critical for our communities, all the way down the coast. Right? We have to have community television so people can participate, so they can be civically engaged. Because people can't always make it to our meetings, right? So the only way that they can be civically engaged is to be able to watch the meetings on PCT. And then there's other things at PCT too. There's the podcast booth, there's the media center. My students have taken advantage of it.
I think everyone should have an opportunity and should take the opportunity to come and see what is available to you as a community member at PCT. I always have to check myself and remember it's not Pacifica Community Television, it is Pacific Coast Television. And it's Pacific Coast Television because you've taken on so much work. This organization is bringing democracy into everyone's door.
You're not going to get school board meetings on the local stations, but you can get it at PCTV. The staff you guys are so awesome, and I love the way it's immediately available for us, and we because people will want links to it. Can you send it to us? And immediately they can see it. And I have other parents in the district who can't come to meetings, but they watch. They watch PCTV, and they can follow along because you have the captions. It tells us exactly what item we're discussing. So it's just been great to have that. And it'd be a real shame to lose it.
PCT is extremely important because we all need to know what's happening in our local government, and they step up, they film so many local municipalities and provide the opportunity for the community to come to different meetings while after physically having to be there. So they need to be here. They're as vital as a local paper. PCT needs to be around. Please help them.
Okay. Hey everybody, we're back. And if you're just joining us, this is the PCT Town Hall. My name is Martin Anaya. And I know that I said before the break that we were going to be rejoined by Clarence and Rondell. But we are, first, we had a little bit more talking than we needed to do here with Rihanna and Suzanne of the organization H.O.P.E. That is Healing, Overdose, Prevention, Education. Healing, Overdose, Prevention, Education. And to that last point about the education, and that's, I think, vital, because there's so much that I think that are misconceptions. You were talking during the break about, and I think we might even have a graphic that talks about counterfeit pills.
Yes.
That then get laced with fentanyl?
Yes.
Can you talk to me about that? Maybe we have that.
In fact, what's actually happening is beyond just counterfeit pills. All drugs are being laced with fentanyl. So like,
why?
So fentanyl is synthetic, so it's man-made. It's cheap to produce and it's easy to produce. And so what's happening is drugs like cocaine and methamphetamines and even marijuana are being laced or tainted by these drug dealers who are looking to get people addicted to the drug that they're selling. And so they don't care about, for example, the tiny amount of fentanyl that it could take to kill someone, because all they care about is trying to make money. And so what we're seeing is that all drugs on the street right now are pretty dangerous, and it could cost you your life to experiment, unfortunately. So if you see on the graphic, you'll see there's a few examples of some common prescription medications that people abuse.
And it could be easily misunderstood.
And what they're doing is they are creating powders and pressing them that contain fentanyl to look exactly like these other drugs. So somebody's thinking that they're gonna get a Xanax or a Ritalin or an Adderall on the street, and what they're getting is a counterfeit drug. And what they're finding is from the DEA and law enforcement is finding that 60% of pills on the street are counterfeit. So 6 out of every 10 pills out on the street potentially contain enough fentanyl to take your life.
Ouch. Suzanne, did you have something on that as well?
Well, I was just going to talk about fentanyl a little bit. So synthetic opioids like fentanyl contribute to nearly 70% of overdose deaths. Even in small doses, like Rihanna said, it can be deadly. So I think it's important for us as H.O.P.E. to really get out there and educate family and friends in the communities about this, and so parents can talk to their kids as well. There are other opioids out there that are making their way in, for instance, carfentanil is more potent than fentanyl. Multiple doses of the anti-overdose drug Narcan may not be effective to reverse it.
Ooh.
It's scary.
And then of course there's all the drugs that are opioids that we're used to hearing about.
Yes. Right.
That get given prescription drugs.
So that would be
for
like
pain.
Vicodin, Percocet, codeine.
Percodan.
Yeah. So all of those are legally prescribed opiates. And so what's happening is now they're kind of pulling back on prescribing because for many years people have been overprescribed. And that's kind of where the opioid epidemic came from, is people being overprescribed these drugs that were allegedly not addictive that turned out to be. So now people can't get it from their doctors anymore. So they're turning to the streets.
Yeah.
And what's happening on the streets now is fentanyl is so easy and cheap to make that drug dealers and whomever are using fentanyl to create these fake drugs that then people are unknowingly purchasing because they want a fix.
And for the drug dealer, they don't have to deal with doctors
Correct.
and trying to hook, nook, and crook to get the drug. They can get it in
Yeah,
bulk.
like I said, that's a big unfortunate thing of fentanyl. It's easy to produce.
Yeah, and sadly, fentanyl, when you take it, also, if you start coming down from it, if you start withdrawing from it, your body wants it like within, I believe it's like an hour, hour and a half. That's the short distance of what it'll last before people start withdrawing from it.
Yeah.
So then they have to go get it again, or it's
vicious.
It's vicious. Yes.
I think we have some other graphics. If we can just kind of maybe take a look at one of those other graphics, Jason. Is there other graphics over there that we have up that we can put up?
There's one that'll show some of the lethal doses in. There you go. So if you see there on the screen, you'll see lethal doses of opioids, and you'll see there at the top morphine, which is one I'm sure everyone's familiar with. That's
so help me out. So what am I looking at there? So on the left it says opioid morphine. Okay, we all know what morphine is, but relative potency 1x. So what does that mean?
So what that's telling you is, if you look at the other side, it says 1p. So 1p, morphine's like the base drug that the rest of this is based off of. So morphine in the size of a pea.
The size of a pea.
That's a lethal dose of morphine. So when you jump down to the next line, you'll see 2 times, so heroin is 2 times as potent as morphine. So you'll see a smaller representation, a physical representation.
So basically
sunflower
the size of a sunflower seed,
that's a lethal dose of heroin, and that's 2 times as potent as morphine. When you jump down to fentanyl, you'll see 100 times more potent than morphine. And what that equates to physically, to think about in your head, is 1 sesame seed. One sesame seed. Which is why counterfeit pills are so dangerous. Because if you could imagine how many sesame seeds there might be in one pill, there could be some in half and not the other half. And you could take one whole pill, and that's why the movement One Pill Can Kill is something that's being pushed right now in harm reduction.
I see that.
That's it gets worse, unfortunately.
Oh no.
So if you jump down to the next line, you'll see sufentanil, which is 500 times more potent than morphine, and that would physically equate to 1 grain of sand, which is pretty impossible. Like, you can't even hold 1 grain of sand. Yes, so 1 grain of sand of sufentanil would be a lethal dose. And again, even worse as you jump down, carfentanil, which is not even FDA approved, so it can't be used by doctors. They can't find it in the hospital. It's completely synthetically made on the streets, and it is, as you'll see, 10,000 times more potent than morphine.
That is crazy. Okay, now Jason, you had another graphic there. If you don't mind putting that up for me. Okay, what is this telling us?
So this is like a little 6 R's of an opioid overdose, and it's kind of something that like you can keep in your head for if you are going to save somebody who's overdosing. So the first thing would be to recognize the symptoms.
Yep.
So Suzanne went over that, and we talked a little bit about that. Respond. So that would be trying to get them to respond, wake them up, give them the sternal rub, call 911. Reverse is where you would administer the Narcan.
Yep.
And then another thing that you're going to want to do then is CPR if they are not responding. If you don't know how to do CPR, that's another reason you'd want to call 911, because they will instruct you
So that
on how to do
911
CPR.
comes into it very quickly.
Yes, you want to
regardless of whatever
immediately
else
call
you're doing.
911.
Yeah,
That's very, very important.
Sure.
A lot of people will push back on that, especially if they are addicts in this situation. But you want to go ahead and just make sure that you call 911.
You got that good Samaritan law that's going to prohibit you from getting
correct
from getting in trouble.
Yes. So then, like I said, you will do CPR, And then recover is where you would want to turn the person onto their side, which into what's called the recovery position. And that would be in case someone is throwing up, and you want to keep them off of their back so they don't choke on their own throw up. You want to make sure they don't roll all the way over onto their stomach. So it's kind of like a little figure 4 with your leg. You want to make sure their knee is out to keep them from rolling all the way onto their stomach. And then that is the point where you would see if they are responding, and you might want to dose them again with Narcan. And then refer would be, obviously they're going to be going to the hospital, or if there's somebody that's going to try and push against that, you would want to try and push them to go to their nearest medical facility. In particular, because they're going to wake up in withdrawal. And they're going to need help.
Which means they're going to be pretty agitated.
Yes, and also suffering physical symptoms of withdrawal, which can be dangerous as well.
Ladies, this is very important. Now, did you have any other graphics that I need to look at, or was that?
I think that was it.
That was pretty much it.
I think that was it.
Any last words? We're gonna run out to another little bit of a break, and when we come back again, this time we'll be joined by Clarence and Rondell. But Rihanna, what do you think?
I just want people to understand that you can't just experiment with drugs anymore. It's not safe. I want to really stress to people to talk to their children because teenagers in general are the most naive is not the right word, inexperienced and trusting and wanting to experiment and figure out what's going on in the world.
Wanting to make their friends happy.
And unfortunately, that's just not safe anymore. And I want to really, really stress that I want parents to talk to their children, because the earlier the better that we get to people to understand that the drug scene is dangerous. It's deadly now. There's no more just experimenting with drugs.
Right. Those days are done.
Yeah.
Suzanne, what are your final thoughts?
Say educate, educate, educate.
Yes, ma'am.
Just keep on educating. Keep it
And
going.
you guys are available to do that.
Always.
Right? Give me that website, give me that phone number, email, just any kind of contact information if you don't mind, one more time.
So our website is www.hope650.change650.org.
Hope.4change. Hope.4change. Is that correct?
No, in the website there is no dot. In our email address you'll see the dot. But the website, you know, with domains you can't put dots in the middle.
Understood.
So you can reach out to us on our website. Like I said, you can find me anywhere in Pacifica. I'm around now, and I'm always available. I tell everybody I know I'm available 24/7.
She's on the Fog Fest committee with me, so I'll be seeing you.
Like I said, I've been around town now for the past year. I like to think I'm pretty easy to find.
You are. It's been right. I'm getting laughs from the crowd here. So
And
she's
I
a
have
wealth of
information.
I have more
Yes.
than enough Narcan to give out to anyone who could ever want it. And I hope that you do want it, because it's really necessary in this day and age. It doesn't matter if you think that you don't need it, because you're not Narcanning yourself, you're saving somebody else.
That's right. All right. I love it. Folks, stay right there. We're going to bring the founders of this wonderful organization back. And right after these messages, please stay tuned.
I'm Lynn Adams with the Pacific Beach Coalition, and it's really important to me that we have community television, because it allows us to have our community meetings online. It allows us to reach out and educate our community, and it's really important that we can have that service. PCT has been really valuable to the Pacific Beach Coalition by publishing and filming our events, the Earth Day event and Coastal Cleanup Day event, which we just did today. And people that can't come here can still see the message. And that's really important and vital. So I want to thank PCT for all their work, and hope that people will support PCT so that they can continue their work here in Pacifica and along the coast. Thank you.
World, Coastside, Pacifica. I'm Robbie Bancroft. I'm a co-owner of Breakers, the restaurant in Rockaway Beach. I used to work at the Pacifica Resource Center. I'm on the board of Pacificans Care. I'm also in the band Obsolete Man. And my dream is to play in this studio now that we're back open. But PCT needs your help. We need to keep this station in Pacifica. They do public access. They do the government, which I spoke of, the city council meetings. We all watched that during the pandemic over Zoom. It wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for PCT. And they also have an educational component. You can come in, you can learn how the media is made. You can be on this side of the camera, you can be on that side of the camera. It's all possible because of PCT. It's all possible because of your support. So please support this station, support the dreams of the next generation to create just the massive amounts of media to make a difference in this world. PCT needs you now more than ever, so please support them.
Okay, everybody, we are back. And again, if you're just joining us, man, you got to hit that rewind button or check it out on the next playback because this is a very important issue. You're watching a PCT town hall, and we've been talking to the lovely folks at H.O.P.E. I am now rejoined by Rondell and Clarence and the founders of H.O.P.E. Healing Overdose Prevention Education. And you know, Rondell, I think I heard you say it, and I definitely heard the two ladies say it about education is key. Is
Education,
that if you know, the
yes.
knowledge is power, right?
Yes.
Right.
If you had your way, and I know you're just a startup, you guys haven't been around that long, but if you had your way here in San Mateo County or on the coast side, what could we do? What could happen in the next year with that education component? What could it look like?
Well, it would be like sex education in schools. It would be for drugs and overdose.
So
and
we would get
prevention.
them. And what do you think is the proper age that we would want to reach these
As
kids?
early as you could introduce it, I think. And then eventually, as they get older, they would get more and more.
Yeah, and I can tell you,
So-
you know, I don't know about what it was like in your school, but you know, when I was in the 7th grade, I knew people that were experimenting with drugs. So.
Yeah. But it's not just the child. It could be an adult on drugs, and the 10-year-old's going, "What's going on?" But if he
Or
has
they
it,
accidentally
introduce it.
come across it and they don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
So you can talk to little kids, like even I believe as young as 5, like very young. And you don't have to say the word fentanyl. You don't have to say death. You can say, don't pick anything up off the floor. Don't take anything that's not from your mom or your dad. You know,
it could hurt you.
don't take anything from your friends. You can start with their language.
Well, I just want to thank you guys for being here, and I want to thank you for spreading hope and for spreading joy. And that party was a kick butt party.
It was fun.
So they've got a lot of things coming up. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for you to get involved. And again, like I say, they can come out and talk to your group. So if you want that to happen, please make it happen. And we can help. We're here. I mean, like I said, you can come here to PCT and get that Narcan for yourself or a loved one or somebody you don't even know, because like Holly Smalley said, you can be a hero. So Rondell and Clarence, I just want to thank you. And I do want to also thank Suzanne and Rihanna. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Again, do yourself a favor. If you don't remember anything else, get back a hold of us at PCT, Pacific Coast.tv, and we will get you that information. We'll put you in contact with these guys, and we'll make that happen. And yes, you could be a hero and you could save a life. For now, my name is Marty Anaya. I want to thank you guys. Thank you guys here. Give yourselves a big round of applause. And thank everybody at home. We'll see you next time.
Good stuff. Thank you.